Hello and welcome to the Libertarian Perspective, a discussion of state, local, and national issues with a libertarian flair. My name is Doug Klibble. I'm the former state chairman of the Libertarian Party of Florida. Appreciate you tuning in to watch our broadcast very much. With me today is Phil Labe from the Libertarian Party of Duval County and also the state representative for this region for the Libertarian Party of Florida. Phil, great to have you with us.
Nice to be here, Doug.
Great. And also with us, we have a special guest today, Ford Banister for the Committee for Sensible Marijuana Policy.
That's correct.
And Ford, we appreciate you being part of our broadcast very much.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. Well, we have a very full show, and we're actually going to devote it to you and the issue of marijuana reform and why that's important and why that's something that voters in Duval County and surrounding areas ought to be interested in. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is an important issue. I mean, obviously we've got a lot of things going on nowadays, but this is an important issue and it's worthy of our discussion. So I know this is the first time you and I have had a chance to meet each other, Ford, but you actually founded the Jacksonville chapter of the group called NORML, which is the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and it's an organization that you're still active in their state board.
That's correct. I did found the Jacksonville NORML chapter, and actually it wasn't too long. People started coming in, and we were all writing our state representatives and our state senators. Unfortunately, they weren't responding to us very often, and when they did, their answers were glib to the point of being smug, I think would be the best way to say it. So earlier this year, I formed the Committee for Sensible Marijuana Policy. We're a statewide political action committee that's now running local decriminalization initiatives in Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Tallahassee, and Orlando.
Well, fantastic. And we're going to look forward to hearing about that committee work, that organization that you've started. But we have a couple of overheads we're going to put up. We're going to start just with a quick overview for maybe viewers that don't know anything about it, about NORML. And as I mentioned, it does stand for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. It's formed in 1970, so it's been one of the longest lived organizations, if you will, that's been involved in this issue, of course organized in all 50 states. And I notice a lot of international affiliates as well, a great number of countries around the globe. And there is a website up there, norml.org, for individuals who want some additional information. We'll go ahead and go to the next overhead just while we're talking about NORML very, very quickly. For those out there who haven't heard about it, it's a lobbying group that provides a voice for those who oppose prohibition of marijuana, supporting removal of criminal penalties, and of course responsible use by adults. That is an important point, isn't it, Ford? Use by adults. I mean, you know, libertarians obviously are not in favor of the war on drugs either, but we understand that it is the type of thing where we're talking about adults who should be of legal age and making their own decisions in life. A lot of times I think people who are afraid of maybe decriminalizing marijuana or other drugs are afraid that somehow we're advocating the use of those drugs or advocating the use by children.
By no means, and I understand that completely. You know, the sum total of more than 72 years of prohibition has been that marijuana is now the largest cash crop in the United States. It's more than all the wheat and corn combined. It's the second largest cash crop in Florida, right behind oranges as of 2005. And it's readily available to everyone, adults and minors, unfortunately. Regulation actually works. There's no one carding if there's a black market. And we found that through education we've been able to reduce the amount of cigarette smoking among adults and minors very substantially over the last few decades. I think we could do the same thing with marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very, very well put. I mean, a owner of a convenience store, for example, has a vested interest in not selling alcohol to minors because he has the rest of his enterprise to protect. If he violates that law or whatever, he loses the rest of his enterprise. And you have something like marijuana that operates outside of the boundaries of the law, all bets are off.
Absolutely, and you know, high school students regularly respond to the National Annual Household Survey, and they say that it's easier for them to get a bag of grass than it is for them to get alcohol. They've said that in several consecutive years.
Absolutely. Phil, what are your comments on this discussion? You're familiar with NORML and some of the work and things that they've done. What's your take on Ford's input on this issue?
Well, I think this goes along just the libertarian lines that a lot of people think if something's bad, the government needs to stop it and have a law, and that stops it. And that's not really the case for a lot of things, and in this case with marijuana and all drugs, what it does, it doesn't stop the drugs. It creates a black market, which creates crime, violence, just the way it did when we had prohibition against alcohol back in the 30s. So yeah, if you want to stop marijuana, creating laws really isn't the best way to do it. Other methods, such as the ones NORML is proposing are the way to go.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, with that as a little bit of a backdrop forward, what led you to have interest in this committee for sensible marijuana policy, and what is it that you're actually pursuing through this committee?
Okay, well, these are all the same petitions in each city, and it's going to establish a civil charging option for a $100 fine. It's going to allow a police officer the discretion to issue a ticket for violation of the city charter rather than process a misdemeanor arrest. And it's also going to allow an enlightened state attorney to plead down a misdemeanor less than 20 grams of marijuana to a civil infraction. So it actually decreases, or increases rather, the discretion of the police and the state.
Right. And so we actually have an overhead that we're going to put up that's actually a charter amendment petition that you have in Jacksonville Beach. And we've gone ahead and put that up on the screen. So what you're gathering signatures to put this on an upcoming ballot? Is that the impetus right now?
And that's correct. Yeah, we need 1,442 for Jacksonville Beach and a little more than 1,000 for Atlantic Beach.
So individuals, you obviously have to get people that reside in those communities to sign those petitions.
And that's correct.
And what is your strategy for going about and doing that?
Well, we've been out petitioning. We've had events. We have had protest events at the Jacksonville Beach City Hall, and we're going to be we'll be working until the deadline of May 6th, and we hope to have this on the ballot for November. Otherwise, we'll have it on a later ballot.
And what's the level of receptivity that you found as you've approached people with this ballot?
It's been very positive. We actually, a group of about 15 of us spent an afternoon, Saturday afternoon, out canvassing in Jacksonville Beach, and I mean the response is overwhelmingly positive.
So again, just to recap and make sure that the viewers out there understand what this is all about, if this is on the ballot and approved by voters, it will actually, in essence, allow for a law enforcement officer of, I think you said, less than 20 grams of marijuana?
That's correct. That's the misdemeanor
basically issue a citation.
Correct.
That would be a $100 fine that then could be even subject to further reductions or plea bargaining down if there was a prosecutor that was so like-minded. And it seems like what you're trying to do is make this more of a quick and easy process for violators where they don't get into the normal criminal justice system. They normally wouldn't have to go through the normal things that somebody that was being charged would have to go through.
Well, we'd like to lessen the disruption to the lives of people who are arrested for marijuana, the collateral damage, and we also like to save some police resources. It costs a lot of money to process these arrests, and our jail is certainly full right now.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into that issue in just a second. Bill, as a libertarian, your response to that type of an initiative?
I think it's a great step. Personally, myself, I'd like to see more. I mean, marijuana, I understand focusing on that because really it's not that harmful of a thing to do, but I think that any drug law, even if it's something harmful, it's just really a bad idea. Really, these laws, they're not really meant, and I don't think that they do create safety. What they do is they create a loophole for intrusion into people's lives. You have police officers storming into people's houses. You have innocent people getting shot by the police in fake drug busts. For example, here in Jacksonville, we had a person who he came out, he saw people dealing drugs on his lawn. He tried to shoo them away with a shotgun, like the character from Gran Torino. It was undercover policemen dealing the drugs, and they murdered him. They shot him right on his front porch. So that's one of the reasons I'm against it.
Yeah.